Hello, Soulshine. It's Michelle here, and I'm inviting you to wake up and live. Oh, let me move my microphone to there. I apologize because I know that Paul Cross, he's got Skylar and Friends channel. He's on live right now. I'd like to be watching him, but I know that if I don't get my live done, I'm going to end up regretting it. Oh, what's on my shirt? How weird. That's going to bug me. Okay. There, can't see it. So today I wanted to talk about purpose and mission and messages and things like that. Like I said last night, if you watched yesterday's video, I did some rainbow therapy. That's what I'm going to call it, rainbow meditation stuff. And I did set an intention to have some clarity to do the kind of videos that I want to do for my channel, to share the message that I really feel like is needed from me for you. So I woke up this morning, and these are some of the thoughts that were going through my head, is talking about some of the differences between a message and your mission and your purpose and the different kinds of purpose. This can be a really confusing area. This is a place where I hear somebody say, we're going to talk about purpose, and they start talking, and I'm like, you're talking about a mission by my understanding, or you're talking about values, and although values are really important, that's not necessarily your purpose. So there's a lot of different types. So everybody on the planet has one purpose that is the same, and that is to live. You came to Earth to experience life, to learn things, to share things, to live. That is the number one purpose that every single person on the planet has, and they all have it together. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody's supposed to do the same thing. Doesn't mean everybody has the same message to share. Doesn't mean everybody has the same values. It doesn't mean that your other purposes and your missions and your values and your message doesn't mean any of that has to be the same. But that is the number one purpose that we all have in common. We came here to experience life, to live, to learn, to teach, to be alive. So that's number one. Purpose is an interesting thing because you can have short-term purposes and long-term purposes. You could have a purpose for a video. My purpose for this video is to share about different types of purpose. You can have purpose for your life, a specific purpose. You could go to school to become a teacher, and then your purpose is in being a teacher. So even though that's your career, there's also a purpose in that. And so that's one thing, is when you have a purpose in what you're doing. And so it can be short-term and it can be long-term. Now, some people talk about values as if they're purpose. And this, I don't think it really is your purpose, but I think it's a very key factor, because if you're not getting your values from what you're doing, you're not going to do them. You're not going to want to do them. So whether it's your purpose or not, if it doesn't have your values in it, you're not going to do it. So some of your values, you may have money as a value. And so if you're not getting money from what you're doing, you're not going to do it. You may have family as value. And if what you're doing takes you away from your family, you're not going to do it unless you can find a way to either have another value be stronger or involve your family. So, so that's the thing. Some of the things to look at is you've got to figure out what your top 5 or 6 values are and see if you can implement them into everything you're doing. If you can live a value-based life, then you're going to feel fulfilled. So if connecting with people is valuable to you, then make sure that the things that you're doing in your life create connection. Because when you don't, you're going to start feeling depression. Ask me how I know. Yeah. it's not fun when you're doing things that don't bring you your values. So right now I'm looking around my room, and I was able to do some things for my room. But in order for me to have the motivation to actually get in and clean my room, I've got to find the values of my top core values and find which ones I can use to motivate me. So one of them could be a family thing. Family is very important to me. Having order is important to me, but compared to my family up here, order is a little lower. They're not as important to me. Everybody needs to have order, by the way. But one thing that is important to me is that my family knows how to do things. So for me, a motivation to clean my room would be if I am cleaning my room, then I am setting an example for my family and they'll clean their rooms. Or I at least have a leg to stand on when I ask them to clean their room. So for me, I can kind of manipulate what I want to do, not in a negative way of manipulating, but using my values to create motivation. So whatever it is that you choose to do with your life, make sure it's aligned with your values, or find a way to bring in, like sometimes it's hard. Sometimes we are in a place where it's really important to earn money, and we're in a place of transition to earning money from things that just bring us ultimate joy and versus the daily grind. If you can bring your values into the daily grind, it will feel better to you. If you cannot find a way to bring your values into it and you are just pushing through that, make sure that you fill the rest of your life with your values. That when you're on breaks, that you are implementing your values, whether it be that you take your breaks to meditate, or you have your break time to connect with people you work with, or you have your break time to read from valuable books that will help you improve your life. When you're home from your daily grind kind of thing, make sure you're finding things that are aligned with your value to just add that value into your lives, because we truly do want to feel that fulfillment that comes from living aligned with our values. So let's see, what other kind of purpose is there? So you got the purpose of just whatever you choose to do, you can create a purpose. You have the purpose that's about your values, your message. This is where I get a lot of people, I think, get really confused, because they're like, I have to find this great, incredible message that I'm just going to share, and it has to look this way and it has to look that way. And what they're not understanding is that the core of your message doesn't ever actually have to be said out of your mouth. The core of your message is shared by how you live your life. And if you are called to be a teacher, you may actually share that message word for word. It may be the easiest way to share it is that one of my core messages to the world is that you belong. You belong here. I don't have to go around telling everybody, hey, you belong here, you belong here, you belong here. Just by walking into a room with my friends, and even strangers, I can be happy and be so excited to see them. And just by being excited to see them, I am sharing that message, you belong. And so your true core message doesn't ever have to be vocalized. It just is a part of an essence of what drives you. I want to make sure that my children know that they belong in our family. And I don't necessarily say every day, you belong here. No, I say, I'm so glad you're a part of my family. I do things to include them so that they feel included and they feel like they belong. And that's the thing, is no matter what I'm doing in my life, if I'm living from my message or my messages, because I have more than one. If I'm living for my messages, I'm creating that around me. I'm creating a sense of belonging and a welcoming feeling in everybody that I meet. And there are also times that when I'm teaching about message, I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to say, you belong here, dang it. We want to hear your message. We want to see you shine. And so that's something else to understand. Now, a mission, I wish I could remember the way that this guy, I listened to him 10 or 11 years ago. I remember he was on a call that I was on listening to, and he talked about multiple types of purpose and mission and the different things, kind of like what I'm talking about right now. And he talked about your life mission. He says, most people are freaked out by it when they find it. And yes, I was. And he had an activity that you could do that would help you to find your mission. And he was, his mission was being a sword of truth. And so he was out there spreading truth. That was his thing. I came up with as a warrior of light. And that was really hard for me because I was like, I'm not a warrior type. I don't want to be a warrior type thing. Like, I don't have any problem with sharing light, but I don't want to be a warrior. And then I watched A Peaceful Warrior and came to some understanding about being a warrior. And as I've looked at different aspects of being a warrior, there are the people on the front lines. There are warriors that are guides. There are warriors that are defenders. There are warriors that are leaders. So there are different types of warriors even. And so that's a part of it, is coming to terms with what kind of warrior I am. And that's been a process. It's taken me 10 years to be at peace with the idea of being a warrior of light. If I can remember, maybe that will be my intention tonight, is that I can awake remembering how to discover your life mission, what, like, that ultimate thing that you're here for. And it's like that message. It's that thing that you just do as a part of you. It's not necessarily a job you do. That's one thing. There's a calling. Sometimes we feel called to do things, and we call this our purpose. And in a way, it's our purpose, but it's a calling. It's somebody calling. One person I listened to talked about it as a tribe. Your tribe has a call. They've let out a call. Help me. And you hear that and you respond. And that is why it's a calling. They're calling you to respond with your message. So your message, your mission, different kinds of purposes. There's the kind of purpose where you just look at the kind of things that you've always done. If you've been really drawn to art, you may find purpose in art. If you've been really drawn to music, you may find purpose in music, purpose in writing, purpose in helping people, purpose. So this is when you do the activities where you look back over your life and all the things that brought you joy, all those little spark moments, what brought you joy. That's one way of finding purpose. As people, we just want to live fulfilled. We want to answer the calls that we hear, and we want to feel fulfilled. And so if you're living by your values, if you're answering the calls, if you're doing the things that bring you joy, you're going to feel fulfilled. And that's really what it is. That purpose of living, being alive, experiencing life is really just truly about wanting to feel alive. And when you answer the call, you feel alive. When you do things you love, you feel alive. When you figure out what your top values are and you're using those in your life, you feel alive. And that's what it's really all about. That is truly what it is really all about. So with that, remember to let your soul shine live. That means your soul is living. And it's something I haven't been doing much of in the last little while, which is why I have not been feeling very up to par. Why I haven't been feeling all that amazing is because I felt like I was dying, not living. And I've been looking at that. I've been evaluating that. I've been looking at what was going on. I lost complete hope in what, more than one area of my life, but especially in one area of my life, I lost complete hope. I just don't even know where to find that hope. And that is funneled over to the rest of my life. The sense of that if I do certain things, the results will be painful or death, if you will. Not that I'm not suicidal. There's nothing about me that is suicidal. I haven't had a lot of will to live, but I haven't had the thoughts to take my life either. So there's that. Awareness is huge. Becoming aware of how little hope I've seen in one area of my life has given me a direction to focus some of my healing work on. And so I'm feeling a little better. I also got out and did some yard work yesterday, which put me out in the sun with vitamin D and doing some physical exercise. All good for me. So remember, guys, to let your soul shine and be alive. Truly be alive. Do the things that help you feel alive. And that's one of the reasons why I do get on and do my videos, is because when I'm on, I feel alive. And when I'm questioning what I'm talking about, I don't. But right now, I'm like, this is a subject I'm passionate about. It's a subject that just excites me. Things that make me happy are knowing who I am and knowing how to share who I am. That purpose-driven life. Knowing who I am and uncovering the real me. These are the things that make me happy. And I know I talk about manifesting. Part of why I talk about manifesting is because of my understanding of how it all works. Is that when you fully allow your soul to live, that's when the magic happens. That's when the creation happens. So that's what I'm here to share with you today. Thank you for watching. Remember, let your soul shine big, bright, live, and beautiful. Be you, that you were created to do. And thank you for watching.